Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing the Week 16 wide receiver matchups. I'm going to tell you whether you want to start or sit every single wide receiver in all of these matchups across the NFL from Friday on Christmas Day all the way until Monday Night Football to close out the week. Now, before we get into this, I'd like to ask if that at any point inside this video you end up enjoying, you end up having a great time, to please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. And if you're not new, you've been here for a while, maybe just a couple of videos, please make sure you hit that like button down below. And real quick, before we get deep into it, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends, my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is the best place to play daily fantasy sports on the whole World Wide Web. Now, there's two options on their website. You got the progressive tournaments, which I talked about in last week's videos. In this week's videos, we're going to be talking about the match-up shop on OverlayDFS.com. What is that? It is so simple. You pick between two players, plus or minus the spread. Who's going to score more fantasy points on Sunday Night Football? Was it Jarvis Landry minus 3.5 or Rashad Higgins plus 3.5? The answer was Jarvis Landry minus 3.5. Who scores more fantasy points? Baker Mayfield minus 2.5 or Nick Chubb plus 2.5? The answer was Baker Mayfield. It is so simple. Anyone can do it. You guys do so much research to win your matchups every single week. Why not get some nice cashola on the upside here? Win these games on OverlayDFS.com. It is so simple. I don't think the upside made sense there, but what does make sense is winning money. It's easy. OverlayDFS.com, link down below in the description. And we are back. Let's get into it. Week 16 wide receiver start or sit decisions. We begin with Christmas Day. Vikings at the New Orleans Saints. A battle that the Saints typically do not end up winning. This is a dreaded playoff matchup for the Saints, but this is not a playoff matchup because the Vikings are not in the playoffs yet. Maybe they will get in. Who really knows? This is really a must-win game for the Minnesota Vikings. With that said, Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen are locked and loaded starts in your lineup on a weekly basis. I do understand that they are going to have those down games where your team is down terrible because Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen score like 6 points and Dalvin Cook is running a fucking train on the defense. But with that said, you just have to assume that this is going to be a closer game because the Saints should be able to score, in which Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen can get loose in this matchup for the New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas is going to be out again, likely to be activated back again once the playoffs start. With that said, Emmanuel Sanders is the wide receiver one on this team, going up against a not-so-hot Minnesota Vikings defense. While Emmanuel Sanders isn't necessarily a must-start type of wideout this week, I do like his matchup here up against the Minnesota Vikings. I'll be sitting down the other Saints wide receiver, Tre'Quan Smith, in this matchup, even though I wouldn't be surprised if Smith lit it up, but he's more of an inconsistent kind of player, whereas Emmanuel Sanders is the clear one on this team, in my opinion, when Michael Thomas is out. Next game here to begin Saturday's games, Bucs at the Detroit Lions. What a great way to start off your Saturday, by watching a shit stomping by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Bay. Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin should be able to play very well up against this Detroit Lions defense that just is not all that good. Evans has been scoring. Godwin has been catching the ball as well as scoring. Even Antonio Brown last week sparked one up against the Atlanta Falcons in a good matchup for them. Obviously, Antonio Brown to me just is not a startable player because there is definitely the downside of Antonio Brown where he's just not the number one or number two guy on this team. Sure, he does have touchdown potential, and last week was really his kind of coming out party, in my opinion, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We really haven't seen a huge catch from Antonio Brown that really solidifies a game and puts them up big, like up against the Falcons last week where they're down, and then Antonio Brown kind of puts the dagger in the Falcons' chest. I think that Antonio Brown, though, is an all-right start, but with all intents and purposes, you're in the fucking Super Bowl. You shouldn't need to be starting A, B. I am going to be starting Marvin Jones, though, for the Detroit Lions, as long as Matthew Stafford ends up suiting up. Matthew Stafford is one of those quarterbacks who is simply just built different. He could be literally in a hearse, and then the next day is Sunday, and this motherfucker will break out of the hearse, break out of the ground, rip up his gravestone and beat the shit out of his coach and tell his coach that he is going to be starting, because that's what Matthew Stafford does. So I believe him and Marvin Jones should have a great connection, just like they had last week. 4G LTE. Next game, here's the 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. And in this one, obviously, there's no way you're sitting DeAndre Hopkins. He helped you get to the championship. They're playing up against the 49ers defense, who is not as awful as they have looked at points in this season. But DeAndre Hopkins is matchup proof. Pretty simple. You start D-Hop, Brandon Ayuk. Without Deebo Samuel is in for another big spot here up against the Arizona Cardinals, which could be a close game if the 49ers quarterback play goes their way. There are reports that maybe the chosen one chosen Rosen. Josh Rosen, the greatest NFL pick ever, may end up starting for the 49ers this week, but regardless, I still like Ayuk in this matchup. I'm going to be sitting down Cardinals receiver Christian Kirk. This guy is literally just either a touchdown or a complete bust on my face, and I'm not trying to be Mia Malkova this Sunday, so I'm going to be sitting down Christian Kirk. Kendrick Bourne for the 49ers. It just does not seem like they really have a clear number 2 on this team when Brandon Ayuk is the number 1 because Deebo Samuel is hurt. Next game here, we got my Miami Dolphins to close off the Saturday slate. Dolphins at the Las Vegas Raiders. In this one, I like Devontae Parker up against the Raiders if Devontae Parker ends up suiting up. Now, the reports were last week that Brian Flores said that if this was a playoff game, if they needed to win, they would have played Parker and Gesicki last week. Now, Flores, I'm not sure if you've ever looked at the fucking AFC playoff picture, but as a Dolphins fan, we needed to win that game. That was like a playoff game, so why didn't he play? I don't understand. He seemed like he was going to be good to go. But this week up against the Raiders, this is must-win category, in my opinion. Not even in my opinion, in everyone's opinion. We have to win this game, and we have to beat the Bills next week. I think Devontae Parker plays up against a not-so-hot Raiders defense. He is my only start in this game. Isaiah Ford for the Miami Dolphins is going to be a sit for me. Now, the Raiders do have a lot of pieces that I wouldn't be surprised if we're able to play well in this game, but the Dolphins secondary has looked legit. They kind of stopped Patrick Mahomes. They locked Cam Newton behind fucking bars last week, and I don't expect Marcus Mariota to be able to play very well in this one, so Aguilar, Renfro, and Ruggs are going to be sits for me on the week. Next game here, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and in this one, I only like Deontay Johnson. Now, for the Steelers, man, oh man, was that game grim up against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday night. But you want to know who was the savior of the game? Mr. Deontay No Fucking Hands Johnson. Deontay Johnson might be the best NFL player to ever grace the fucking gridiron, who has no idea how to grasp a ball. He needs to get some lessons from Mitchell Trubisky how to grasp the ball, because Mitchell Trubisky knows how to grasp them titties when he kisses them. Deontay Johnson has been good this season. There are obviously concerns that he's going to get benched, but I don't know how the fuck they can bench him when Boo Smith-Schuster can't catch a ball either. For the Colts, T.Y. Hilton is going to be a sit for me, as well as all the other Colts wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton had a down game after being on that hot streak for like 3 weeks in a row. And I feel like he might have cooled down, and up against the Steelers defense, I just don't frankly trust it. Juju Smith-Schuster has, this is a hilarious stat, more TikToks created during the NFL season than yards in a single game. So he has never eclipsed 93 yards, and he's made 98 TikToks, I believe, this season. Juju Smith-Schuster is fucking bad. He really is. He is a arrogant motherfucker. I don't like Juju Smith-Schuster anymore. I used to back in the day. I thought the guy was funny. Now, not funny at all. This guy's a clown, an idiot, and it's fucking hilarious how he's dancing on the other team's logo and they lose. Fuck Juju Smith-Schuster. This guy has been a complete and atrocious pick for fantasy football this year. I never liked him for fantasy. He's had those bright spots. Could he have one here? Would not surprise me at all, but he's pretty much been doing his best Houdini impression this season and hasn't played very well, so he's going to be a sit for me. Chase Claypool as well, looking not as hot recently. When the Steelers haven't been that great, and they're playing up against the Colts, a tough defense, so I really only feel trustworthy of Deontay Johnson. Next game here, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Kansas City Chiefs. It seems as though Mr. Julio Jones is going to be sitting right back down on the bench yet again. It is what it is at this point. I mean, obviously you want to see Julio play for your fantasy team, but he probably won't, which really hurts Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan just chokes every single game, or just plays like complete and utter dick cheese when Julio Jones is not healthy. So it's definitely going to be a fat L for the Atlanta Falcons, but I do think Ridley will still be involved, obviously. This guy is just a fucking animal. Tyreek the Freak Hill is a must start, obviously, regardless of what defense he's playing. We saw him play well up against the Dolphins, one of the tougher defenses in the NFL. He sure as hell can do it up against a bum Atlanta Falcons defense. For the rest of the Falcons, Russell Gage is going to be a sit for me. This matchup up against the Chiefs doesn't scream championship worthy of a must-start kind of a guy, but if you're in a deeper league, I think Gage is just fine. The other Chiefs, it's a complete and utter fucking dice roll which one of them will do good, and on a majority of weeks, the only players who do good there for the Chiefs are of the skill position, like the receivers, tight ends, running backs, is normally just either going to be fucking Tyreek Hill or it's going to be Travis Kelce, and this week I think Le'Veon Bell plays quite well as well. If you guys want to hear more about the running backs, that was in the video from last night. Make sure you guys check that out, and if you guys did end up enjoying this video and you are new, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Enough pandering. Back to the Bears at the Jacksonville Jaguars. In this one, I like Allen Robinson, and I don't like anyone else. The Bears defense doesn't even look amazing, but the Jaguars offense is complete and utter limp dick. They need some Viagra to get it going. I just don't think the Jaguars have that coming for them. Allen Robinson, on the other hand, has just been unreal with Kiss and Titties. Mitchell Trubisky, as of recently, locked and loaded wide receiver 1 in your lineup. Really nothing to think about there. Too complicated. Here comes the Darnell Mooney for the Bears is going to be a sit because it just does not seem like Mitch Trubisky can air it out to too many guys. It really seems like Allen Robinson is the guy getting keyed on there. In Chicago, DJ Chark as well as Laviska Shenault, I just don't feel like there's enough air in their tires to be able to get it going in this matchup up against the Chi-Town Bears. Next game here, we got the Bengals coming fresh off of a win up against the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Texans. While the Bengals defense looked very good last week up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, this just seems like a spot where Deshaun Watson is going to be pounding the Bengals defense in the ass with some points. I think Brandon Cooks plays quite well, just like he did last week in his return game. I think Kiki Kuti plays well as well, but I do feel a lot more confident in Cooks in this matchup up against the Bengals, even though the Texans defense is kind of soft. I don't really trust Boyd or Higgins with the quarterback play in Cincinnati, and everyone's favorite frat boy, Chad Hansen of the Houston Texans, is going to be a sit for me in this matchup since I feel a lot more confident of Cook's health in this game. Next game here, the Giants at the Ravens. This one's pretty simple. You just fucking sit everyone. I don't trust the Ravens passing offense really all that much, and it seems like one random ass motherfucker will end up scoring the tug. It'll probably be like Devin Duvernay, or maybe it'll be Willie Snead. It probably won't be Hollywood Brown. It's very hard to predict this Ravens passing attack on a weekly basis, so I'm just going to go ahead and sit down all of the Ravens passing attack: Willie Snead, Hollywood Brown, Devin Duvernay, all the other ragtag group of Ravens receivers that they have over there in Baltimore for the Giants. I'm sitting them down too because I don't really trust them up against the Ravens defense, considering Danny Dimes, Danny Stumbles, Danny Fumbles. Daniel Jones may not end up suiting up in this one as well, so Shepard and Slayton will be sits for me. Next game here, we got the Cleveland Browns at the New York Football Jets, the team who choked away Trevor fucking Lawrence. Hilarious. Embarrassing. Sadness. Pain if you're a Jets fan. But I'm not a Jets fan. I like the Dolphins, so fuck the Jets. Hilarious. Jarvis Landry, in my opinion, must start in this game. This receiving attack for the Cleveland Browns has been clicking uncontrollably. They've been playing very, very well and have been stunting on me completely because I always feel like they're going to run the ball a million times, then they end up passing it 7,000 times. Jarvis Landry and friends get a bunch of yards. I do think Landry is by far the safest Cleveland Browns player in this matchup. I am going to be sitting down Rashard Higgins. Would I be surprised if he lit it up, scored like 100 yards, got 2 tugs? No, that would not surprise me at all. But at the end of the day, I just feel like he's the outcast when compared to Jarvis Landry, especially when comparing guys who are going to be consistent, because Higgins is not very consistent at all. Jamison Crowder, Denzel Mims, Rashad Perryman, all the Jets receivers are sits because the Cleveland Browns defense does look pretty solid, and the Jets offense, besides last week, really is just completely and utterly terrible. Next game here, we got the Panthers at the nation's capital, the Washington football team. And this one, I like DJ Moore. DJ Moore completely did a 360 like he was jumping off the top of fucking Rust in Modern Warfare 2 straight to my domicile last week. I was not a big believer in DJ Moore. Coming into the season, I was all aboard the DJ Moore hype train. I even have a fucking conductor's hat because I was all fired up for DJ Moore to have another great season. Then Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, shows up to town, walks up there doing that fucking swagger walk like his name was Vince McMahon, and he completely dicked down DJ Moore. But then last week, DJ Moore came back off of an injury and played outstanding up against the Green Bay Packers. This week up against the football team, I think he does the same thing and plays well. I like Moore in this one. Robbie Anderson, not too sure how to feel about him. Really not. Not too sure how to feel about him, but I will list him as a start because I think the Panthers offense will be able to be humming in this one. Terry McLaurin, again, this is another player where I really have no confidence in him. He has not really been good as of recently. Dwayne Trashcan Hashcans went to the strip club, throwing some money on some strippers during Rona. I don't judge. I thought it was pretty funny, but it seems like this guy is never going to play a game in a Washington football team uniform ever again. Character issues, it seems like, is what the deal breaker is for Dwayne Haskins, other than the fact that he's just not very good. It is what it is, but it seems like Alex Smith may miss, so then who are they going to play at quarterback? that makes it even more iffy. So make sure that you guys check out the rankings video at the end of the week to get my full kind of feelings on Terry McLaurin, because right now, I just really have no idea what to think, and I'm going to be sitting down Curtis Samuel for the Carolina Panthers because I just don't feel like all three of the receivers can light it up in one game up against a tougher football team defense. And this one, Broncos at Chargers, kind of no-brainer here. You start Keenan Allen. But Nick, Keenan Allen completely fucked me in the ass last week. He only got like 2 points. Well, he was coming off of an injury, and then for some reason, they let him play. And then he's not really in the game. And then he's in the game. Then he's not really in the game. Like, come on, man. EA Sports, it's in the fucking game. But he was not in the game. He was not being EA Sports. It made no sense. This week, though, he should be healthy. The Broncos are going to be playing like 6-string fucking defense. This is going to be the easiest game ever of Keenan Allen's career. He should waffle stomp the Denver Broncos defense into demise. Tim Patrick as well as Jerry Jeudy are going to be sits for me for the Denver Broncos. I just don't feel like the Broncos offense clicks, and when it does click, you really never know who it's going to be out of those two. I would feel more confident in Patrick for the future. I think Jeudy will be the guy, but man, oh man, have this Broncos offense, they look limp dick in some games, and then they're fully erect Viagra style. The other ones, it's really hard to kind of figure out on a weekly basis, so I'd pretty much stay away from those guys in your championship game. Same thing goes with Mike Williams, probably coming in this game banged up just like he was last week. Next game here, we got the Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone wants to see this matchup. The only receiver I have any confidence in, his name is Amari fucking Cooper, because even with the Andy Dalton era in Dallas, and the offense just does not look good at all, Amari Cooper is still the one getting these touches, getting these receptions, getting the ball in open space, and providing fantasy football value for it. The other guys, wouldn't be surprised if Gallup scored. He did last week. Wouldn't be surprised if Lamb had a good game. No. But the only guy I'm confident in, the only guy I feel like is worthy of gracing your lineup to win your fucking fantasy football championship is Amari Cooper based on the safety. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurts looks very good. That is crazy that he fell to the second round, and it's still crazy in my head that the Eagles drafted him, but it makes sense. Carson Wentz is a bum. Jalen Hurts is a certified winner. Eat a W like Jameis Winston, Greg Ward, Alshon Jeffrey. They could both be involved. All these Eagles receivers could be, but on a weekly basis, you never know which one it is going to be. Next game here, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. In this one, I like DK Metcalf for the LA Rams. On a weekly basis, it's typically DK Metcalf doing the best Allen Iverson impression and stepping over the defense, whereas Tyler Lockett has been completely and utterly cucked this year by DK Metcalf. Lockett is so inconsistent, and I refuse to lose my fantasy football championship on the Tyler Lockett hill. He could completely blow the back out of the Seattle Seahawks defense, but he could also completely fuck your team over here, so I'm just not looking the way of Lockett this week. DK Metcalf, though, is a locked and loaded start here up against the Rams. Robert Woods as well as Cooper Kupp have a very easy matchup here up against a very bad, not very bad, I guess that's a lie, just a medium. They're like medium rare if they were like a fucking steak, right? They're like, well, actually, no, medium rare would be perfect. So maybe the opposite. They're like fucking burnt steak, all right? They're just not very good at all in reality, but they're not atrocious to where, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams struggled a little bit up against Seattle, but I still do think that Robert Woods and Kupp are skilled enough to be able to get it done in this one. Josh Reynolds would be a sit for me for the LA Rams. Next game here, we got the Les Titans at the Green Bay Packers. Could be a Super Bowl matchup in just a couple of months, but with that said, Devontae Adams up against the Titans defense. The Titans defense isn't terrible, but they play kind of bend don't break style where they could really get their backs blown out by a guy like Devontae Adams, so I expect him to have a super matchup here up against the Les Titans. For the Titans, AJ Brown, Corey Davis must starts in my opinion. While Davis is definitely more iffy than AJ Brown, who's very safe on a weekly basis, I still think up against the Packers, the Titans are going to have to put on some big points in this matchup, and Corey Davis and AJ Brown should be the answer to that solution. Allen Robinson, what did he say? Alan Lazard, I meant to say, as well as MVS are going to be sits for me for the Packers, because either of these guys could do good, or none of them could do good, because the Packers really use three players: Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, and then Aaron Jones. Besides that, it's kind of a wasteland for the Green Bay Packers. Next game here, we got the no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills at the Patriots, who are no longer in the playoffs. fuck you, Bill Belichick. Stephon Diggs getting the big start in this one, as well as Cole Beasley. This Patriots defense is bad news bears. Their offense sucks cock. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley gonna roll through the Patriots this week. Gabriel Davis will be a sit, but the guy does have a lot of opportunity to grow and potentially have a decent game here up against the Patriots, but I don't feel confident in rolling out Gabriel Davis this week. Jacoby Myers and Damiere Byrd are complete sits. The Bills defense kind of being the kind of public opinion on the defense is that they're very good. I don't really see that. But against the Patriots, doesn't take fucking Einstein to be able to stop those sorry-ass bastards. So Jacoby Myers as well as Damiere Byrd are going to be sits for me. And that was the final game. The final game of the week. Some boring-ass game between the Bills and the Patriots. I forgot about that. So thank you guys all for watching this video. I hope you did end up enjoying. If you did end up enjoying this video, you had a great time. You enjoyed my Damiere Byrd impression. I hope you hit that subscribe button, and I hope that it didn't piss you off to where you want to hit the unsubscribe button. You made it this far. Week 16. Let's win the fucking championship. Have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you all. There should be a video later. Will it be fantasy related? Maybe, maybe not. But there will be videos tomorrow. Merry fucking Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah, which was a couple of weeks ago. To all of you who celebrate that, happy holidays. To everyone else, I do love you guys all. Thank you so much for watching. This has been one of the greatest years of my life. And we're going to end it with the W's in your championships. I love you all. Again, it means the world to me. Have a great rest of your guys' day. OverlayDFS.com. Help your boy pay the bills, so that I can buy other decor, such as this nice-ass Christmas garnel or something is what it's called. Yeah, that's about it. Have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you all. Good boy!